What's up, guys? This is OmegaLiar, and I am very excited today. First off, because one, this is a gameplay using a Silenced MSR and a Silenced G18, and that is a setup you probably have never seen. And that's totally cool with me. But anyway, this is basically the last game for a little while that I'm going to be posting on Modern Warfare 3. Naturally, I'll come back every now and then. I can't say exactly when, but I will come back to play because this game is decently fun and it has its ups and downs. But the other reason I'm so happy is that today's the release of Black Ops 2. It comes out. I'm going to the midnight release at my Best Buy, at my local Best Buy. I don't know if I'll do any vlogs or anything. I might, just for the sake of it. But I will be getting it and I will be playing it. So if you want to play with me on Black Ops, I will be playing somewhere in between the hours of 12 and let's say 1:30. I won't stay up too late, but somewhere in between then, Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know if the midnight release goes only midnight across the country, but for those of you in Europe, I think you guys will have the game. And although it'll be like 5 o'clock in the morning for you. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna be getting it, and I'm really excited because I've been looking into the game. I've been looking into gameplays. I've been looking into just about everything that I could. And I am pretty impressed with what I've seen. Now, there are a few concerns I have, because in the past, Call of Duty games have not come out balanced. I do trust that Treyarch will fix balance issues, but that doesn't mean that they've prevented them from the start. So, I'm kind of just crossing my fingers, but no one notices these kinds of things until at least 2 weeks into the game. So, straight off the bat, I'll do whatever. But then I will go back to my regular style of channel, I guess, which is using the guns that you don't see that often, the guns that seem worse than the other ones, or the ones that straight up are worse, not even if they seem it. But that's kind of the idea. Then I also have my tips and tricks. Then I also have a series that I'm gonna actually use to apply to machinima, which is kind of awesome. I've started that whole process, and I'm getting ready to send one in. So if that goes through, that'd be sweet. If not, whatever, I'll try again some other time. That's all there is really about Black Ops. I mean, there's still some things that I really am curious about, specifically the level up system. Will I have to prestige? Will I not have to prestige? Will I ever be able to have everything? Because what I've heard is that you have a certain amount of unlocked tokens, and you can't unlock everything with just those tokens in one prestige. So does that mean that when I go back to second prestige, I have the same amount and I have to pick differently, or does it mean that I can have everything I want the second time around, the third time around? How do you get gold guns? How do you do the challenges? I don't know. Anyway, so I am very excited. Oh, there's another thing. I'm wondering if the emblem creator is back, simply because that was awesome for Black Ops. But anyway, so Modern Warfare 3 coming to an end. Black Ops 2 is about to begin, and I think it's going to be great. On top of that, there's really not much else to say. I mean, you guys can pretty much predict what's going to be going on in the next few days. What I can say though is that I won't be able to prepare today. I'll only be playing when I get the game because I have lots of work to do, and I need to stay on top of that, especially with the new game coming out, because they are extra distracting. So schoolwork comes first, then Black Ops, but for one night, Black Ops will come first. Now I want to talk a little bit about what my expectations are straight off the bat from the game, because obviously there's going to be a lot of new stuff thrown at you. There's a new kill streaks, point streak system. There's all new guns, all new perks and equipment, and well, I think a lot of it is really interesting, and I have a few concerns about some things, but at the same time, I'm really looking forward to some others. So the first thing that I want to say is the attachments being more like the perks that affect your guns. That's an interesting idea to me, and I don't know how it's going to play out. Because I'm under the impression that most people are probably going to run something along the lines of the steady aim perk or the quick draw perk. And don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm under the impression the quick draw perk makes you come up from sprints faster. If that's not the case, then, well, I'm wrong. But I do know that that's basically how the attachments work. So you have attachments to reduce recoil, attachments to reduce hipfire spread, attachment. I think there might be for some guns a mobility attachment, but aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. But then at the same time, you have to think, what are the perks gonna do? What kind of how split up are the perks? Are there pro perks? I'm really not sure. I haven't done enough research about it to know. And then there's the big question of, is there going to be some stealth setup that is a game killer? From what I've seen, no. Mainly because the so-called ghost perk in the game, it only is an effect if you're in motion, and there's all sorts of questions about that as well. Like, if you just stop, will you instantly be on radar again if it sweeps over? What's the time limit there? How does all that stuff work? But I don't know. I think I'm just gonna say I have confidence because they've done it right in the past. I use World at War as an example, and a lot of people disagree with me, but again, my point kind of stands. The only issue with World at War was the MP40, and even then it wasn't that huge of an issue, but people sort of blew it out of proportion. But the perks in that game were pretty balanced. The guns in that game were pretty balanced. And that game was great, and that's sort of something to go by. And then with the whole pick 10 thing, obviously, will people be running 2 guns? Will people be running no secondary? I wish you could do 2 secondaries. That's something I've always wanted to do. And I don't know why you haven't been able to. Like, how amazing would that be? Let's say if it was like Modern Warfare 2, running around with like a, let's say, TMP and a PV90, or a PV2000. But that's kind of random. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff I'm looking forward to from the game. There's all sorts of stuff I'm worried about from the game, and I also have to worry about getting stuff out to my channel, figuring out what works best, and which guns aren't overpowered so I can use them. Because I'm sure most of you know I try to stay away from overpowered guns. But I really don't want to ramble on too long because there's not too much to say, really. The game's coming out. If you want to play with me, that's great. I'll definitely play with you. But aside from that, I'm not going to waste your time. The gameplay is interesting to watch if you care. But if you don't, I don't blame you. The game is coming out. You're probably more interested in that. But if not, just consider this a quick little update. Oh, the game's over. Huh. How about a long update? Anyway, the game ended in a draw. It's a different type of gameplay. There's not much to it. So if you like this video, as always, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next commentary. Thank you for watching. Black Ops 2. Pretty exciting. What is that? 25 and 6? Something like that.